The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, over many a quaint and various volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. "Only this, and nothing more." Ah, distinctly I remember it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from my books a crease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden, whom the Angles name Lenore, nameless here for evermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door, some late visitor entreating my entrance at the chamber door. This it is, and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," I said, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore, but the fact is, I was napping, so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door. That I scarce for sure, I heard you. Here I opened wide the door. Darkness there, and nothing more. Deep into that darkness, peering, long I stood there wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before, but the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word, Lenore. This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word, Lenore. Merely this and nothing more. Back into the chamber turning, my soul within me burning, soon again I heard the tapping somewhat louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely this is something at my window lattice. Let me see, then thereat is, and is, the mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more." Open here I flung the shutter, when with many flirt and flutter, and there stand a stately raven of saintly days of yore. Not the last obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with a mien of lord or lady, perched above my chamber door, perched upon the blasted palace, just above my chamber door, perched and sat and nothing more. Then this ebony bird of beguiling my sad fantasy into smiling, and my grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. "Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou," I said, "art sure no craven, ghastly grim and ancient raven wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the nightly Plutonian shore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." Much I marveled this ungainly fowl to hear this discourse so plainly, even though answers little meaning, little relevancy bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing the bird above his chamber door. Bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such a name as Nevermore. But the raven sitting openly on the placid bust spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing further than he uttered, not a feather than he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, "Other friends have flown before, on the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before." Then the bird said nevermore, startled at the stillness broken to reply so aptly spoken. "Doubtless," said I, "what it mutters, its only stock and store, caught by some unhappy master, whom unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster, till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore, of nevermore." But the raven still beguiling my fantasy into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of the bird and thus the door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore, what's this grim, ungainly, ghastly gaunt, an ominous bird of yore, meant in croaking nevermore. This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing, to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining on the cushion's velvet lining that the lamplight gloated over. But those velvet violet lining with the lamplight glowing over, we shall press on nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed by an unseen censer, swum by a seraphim whose foot talls tinkled on with the tufted floor. Wrenched I cried that God have lent thee, these angels sent he hath sent thee, respite, respite, the nepenthe, from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff this kind of sympathy, and forget this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, whether tempter sent, or whether temptest, toss thee here ashore, desolate yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted. Tell me truly, I implore, is there a balm of Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, by that heaven that bends above us, and by the God we both adore, tell the soul with sorrow laden if, within the distant Aidenn, it shall clasp the Satan maiden, whom the angels named Lenore, clasp a rare and radiant maiden, whose angels named Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. By that word, our sign of parting, bird defend, I shriek upstarting. Get thee back of the tempest and the night's Plutonian shore. Leave no back plume as a token that lie thou shalt have spoken. Leave my unless unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore. And the raven sit flitting, still a sitting, on the pallid bust of Pallas above the chamber door, and his eyes have all seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws the shadow on my floor, and my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore.